In this video, I'm going to break down the exact steps to build a body that you're proud of, have the energy to crush your workday and still show up for your family, and set yourself up to live as long as possible. And none of it is going to require you to take medications, inject yourself with hormones, or spend endless hours in the gym. So pay attention closely because your family and your team need you to know this. I'm Andrew Martin, human biologist and a coach, and I help high-performing men transform their body and take back control of their health with a unique approach that I'm about to impact for you. Now, I get it. If you're new here, you might be skeptical. There is a lot of information out there, and if you're like I was, you've probably tried a lot of things that have not worked out. I'm not here to convince you of anything today. I'm just going to share with you what has worked for me and hundreds of my clients because I do very much think that it's going to provide a ton of insight for you. And at the end of this video, if you decide that you want my help and you want to implement these strategies we talked about, then you'll have the opportunity to do so. And if not, I hope this training sets you on the right path. But first, let me be crystal clear. This is not for everyone. This is specifically for successful men who are smashing it in their business or career, but their success has come with a cost, their body and their health. And now they want to actually be able to enjoy the success that they have worked so hard for. So if you are not a financially successful man ready to take your health and performance seriously, respectfully, this isn't for you. Ladies, we do help you too, but this training isn't for you either. If you're content sacrificing your health for more material success, this isn't for you. And this is definitely not for you if you bought into society's celebration of mediocrity and being normal. But if you care about getting your athletic body back naturally, having complete mental clarity to make executive decisions, having energy that lasts all day long, being confident that you are in optimal health, having the capacity to give everything to your family, and ultimately, when you look within, having respect for yourself, knowing that you're living up to your full potential, then this is going to be a very valuable training for you. All right. Let me introduce you to how I got here so that this can be as helpful as possible for you. Growing up, I was an athlete just like you probably were. My body was firing on all cylinders. I didn't have to worry about my body fat percentage or having energy or my testosterone, and things just kind of felt easy. So easy that my health never really crossed my mind. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, shit hit the fan. I felt terrible. I was exhausted. I kept getting injured. I had gut issues, skin problems, chronic headaches. I was forgetting things. I gained 30 to 40 pounds of fat. It was not good weight. My performance at work was suffering, and I struggled to be present with my family when I got home. And the worst part was I had zero sex drive. Like, I couldn't get it up at all. And I remember thinking to myself, what the hell is going on here? I am way too young to need to start taking Viagra. Way too young for this. Now, you'd probably think that that was my breaking point, right? It wasn't. My breaking point was when my wife asked me to go on a hike and I was way too exhausted. All I wanted to do was lay on the couch. And in that moment, I realized that if I wanted to start a family and be a good dad and still be successful with my business, then I needed to take control of my health. So I tried every popular health fix that I could find: paleo, CrossFit, detoxes, countless supplements, but nothing was really working. I would make a little bit of progress, but I still felt like I had a ton of untapped potential and my health and body were just average. And I didn't want to be average. So I went to my doctor and he ran the standard test and he told me everything looks normal. And then he would refer me to specialists who just wanted to throw pills at me and injections, but I wanted to understand why I was having all of these issues to begin with. So I spent over $20,000 in 5 years chasing answers, only to feel more overwhelmed and more confused. Now, obviously that was an incredibly frustrating process for me, but the problem was not the doctors, it was the system. The healthcare system is designed to keep people alive. It is not designed to help people feel alive and go from average to great. On the outside, I looked fine, but on the inside, I felt dead. And I knew that I needed a different approach, one that would focus on finding and addressing the root cause of my issues so I could actually fix them for good and not rely on masking them with medications or injections. So I decided to ditch the old healthcare model and try something completely different. And here were the key changes I made. Number one, the biggest change that I made wasn't about strategies. Actually, it was psychological. I decided to stop being a victim, take control of my health, and stop relying on a healthcare system that didn't align with my goals. No one was coming to save me. I had to save myself. And without that mental shift, none of what I talk about in this video afterward would even matter, okay? Number two, I stopped waiting for problems to appear and became proactive in finding them and addressed issues before they would even register in the traditional medical system as a problem. Number three, instead of settling for being normal with my test results, I studied what elite and optimal results would look like and aimed for those higher standards. Number 4, I stopped chasing quick fixes for my symptoms and started asking why they were happening in the first place. In a year, I healed my autoimmune issue, got off medication, lost 40 pounds of fat, gained 15 pounds of muscle, cleared my gut, restored my energy and sex drive, and reduced my internal age by 6 years. This also helped me be more present with my family and become more productive and show up better for my business, just like this has done for hundreds of other men. Now, I wanted to share all that with you because I think many of you can relate to the struggles I had, and I want you to know that you're not alone. There are tons of men out there feeling the same way that you're feeling right now, okay? So what we're focused on for the rest of this video is going through the new system of healthcare that I created for my clients. I call it Precision Human Optimization, and there is a ton that we could go over here, so we're not gonna go through every single detail. We're just gonna hit the main points, but as an overview, it is a system designed to help you become the CEO of your body and your health, and there are 4 main components. Okay. Number 1 is mastery, and it's the most overlooked part of having success with your health. Tony Robbins says success is 80% psychology and 20% strategy. And this holds true today. If you want to be successful with your health as a leader and for your family, you have to master your emotions and your mindset. You have to own that right now your body and health are mediocre and make a conscious decision to say, screw mediocrity. I'm going to be excellent. I'm going to raise my personal standard for what's acceptable to me, and I'm going to take control of my health. And I promise you, when you really look within and make that decision, you're going to unlock a new level of self-respect and confidence that makes you unstoppable. Okay. Number 2, we need the right model for health and performance optimization. The current healthcare model is focused on managing illness and does a great job of helping people who are sick, but it does a terrible job of helping people who are okay and want to be excellent. So the right model shifts the focus to achieving peak health. It connects the dots between all the aspects of your physiology, your lifestyle, and considers how everything works together. The first piece of that is proactivity. If your house was on fire, you wouldn't wait for it to burn down to get the fire extinguisher, right? But with our health, we have all these little fires going on and we ignore them until the whole thing is up in flames. So let me share a little story with you to illustrate this. One of my clients, he went to his doctor because he was concerned about his testosterone. He was gaining weight, he had low sex drive, he was tired all the time, and he couldn't figure out why. And his doctor told him that he couldn't do anything because his testosterone wasn't low enough, so he had to wait 6 months and come back to do a recheck. Meanwhile, this guy was struggling to get through the day and something was clearly wrong, and he was supposed to just wait and see if it got worse. The risk there is absolutely insane to me. We have to be able to find deficits in our function before they become bigger issues. So I did this a little bit differently. I started looking at my physiology, how my body was operating through the lens of elite health. This means, number 1, testing and assessing way more metrics because the standard blood panel at your annual physical is on average 19 biomarkers, and it's simply not enough to identify issues. And number 2, raising the standards for those tests and assessments so that I was comparing myself to people that I actually wanted to look and feel like. I have a saying that I tell my clients, which is if you want to feel and look like the average American, use their reference ranges. So we use different reference ranges. I call them precision standards. In the old system, your results are classified as normal or disease based on these ranges that are created by taking the averages of everyone who's gotten tested, and then the middle 90% of the bell curve are labeled normal. But here's the problem. Most men are in mediocre health at best. So when you're told you're normal, you're being compared to an average American man where 60% are overweight or obese, 42% have a chronic disease, 50% have low testosterone, 38% feel fatigued every day, 69% have erectile dysfunction, and 93% are not metabolically healthy. I know that is not the benchmark you want to shoot for. You want to be better than average, so we have to raise our standards. When I look at test results, I don't just settle for normal, right? I categorize them as elite, optimal, sufficient, deficient, or critical. And anything less than optimal is a signal to me that there's room for improvement, and that is when we take action. The goal is not just to avoid disease, but to have optimal and elite health so you can live your life at the highest potential. So this is Rob. When he came to me, he was having issues with his energy, felt like his performance at work was suffering and his coworkers were noticing it. He was irritable and short with his kids, and he couldn't build muscle or lose the stubborn belly fat around his midsection no matter how hard he tried. Now, when we did his assessment, his testosterone came back at 260, which is actually inside medicine's reference range of 250 to 1100 nanograms per deciliter. But this is critically low when we look through the lens of optimal and elite health and performance. He also had low cortisol, DHEA, ferritin, B12, magnesium, gut bacterial infections, poor recovery and resilience metrics, and high inflammation. None of it red flagged medically, but they were all red flags with precision standards. And this is Rob now. I think the results speak for themselves here. So that is component number 2, having the right model for health and performance. It's proactive, it uses different standards, and it focuses on identifying and addressing what's truly holding you back. Number 3 is the theory of constraints, which is that a system will only improve to the level of its weakest link. For example, if a business has a 70% close rate, but gets 0 leads, the constraint of the business is not sales, it's marketing. And there is no sense in working toward increasing close rate. The same thing happens with our body. If you can identify what the core problems are, what the core constraints are, you can make progress a lot faster and easier because you're actually putting your effort toward things that have the highest ROI. So how do we find things that are actually constraints for us? How do we find the real constraint? This is where labs and testing and biomarkers are useful. We use over 600 of them to get a complete comprehensive internal analysis and assessment of everything from gut health to hormone function to metabolism and cardiovascular health. But biomarkers are only as valuable as the context that they're viewed in. Let me give you an example. One of my clients, Anthony, had his doctor pushing him to get on medication for high blood sugar. For years, they thought it was a major issue. It turns out his blood sugar only spiked on his lab results because he was doing intense workouts right before his blood test and he was dehydrated. No one asked him about his routine or his lifestyle. They only focused on the numbers on the lab form without understanding the person. And this is why labs alone are not enough. Data without context can lead you down the wrong path. So instead, we look at what I call your body KPIs, key performance indicators, that assess 25 different areas of potential constraints in your body, from sleep and hydration to stress and metabolism. These KPIs will help us pinpoint the root causes of symptoms like low energy, fat gain, brain fog, things like that. The problem is most men skip this step. They work incredibly hard, but focus on the wrong problems. It's like getting in a car, flooring the gas to the pedal, but you've got the parking brake on. You're putting in a lot of effort, but you're not getting anywhere. And this happens a lot with men when they try random diets or programs or even supplements that target symptoms like low testosterone, high cortisol, inflammation. They're missing the bigger question, which is, why is my testosterone low? Why do I have inflammation, right? Treating symptoms might give you temporary relief, but unless you address the root causes, the same issues will keep coming back over and over and over again. Real progress comes from identifying what is truly holding you back and fixing it at its source. Take Ben, for example. He came to me feeling bloated, exhausted, and frustrated that his hard work wasn't paying off. Now, he's a type A guy. He was putting in a lot of hard work. He was eating well, he was exercising, but he just wasn't getting results. And initially, he thought, well, maybe I'm just not getting enough protein, or maybe I have low testosterone. And while his testosterone was not optimal, it was actually being dragged down by deeper issues, gut health problems, and toxic heavy metals. So we started addressing the root causes, healing his gut, improving his resiliency, and then enhancing his detoxification pathways. We did that while providing support for his testosterone, and almost immediately he began to feel better. He started sleeping through the night, his energy was through the roof, he had laser sharp focus at work, and he lost over 30 pounds of fat while gaining muscle. The takeaway is simple. The key to energy, fat loss, muscle building, mental clarity, and longevity is finding the constraints that are holding you back and addressing their root causes and creating a personalized plan to unlock your full potential. Okay? Number 4 is bulletproofing, which is simply about making you more resilient so you can more easily fend off stressors and are less likely to slip back to where you are now. Now, everyone's process is going to look a little bit different, but the one common theme is this. If you want to become the best version of yourself, this is not a one and done type of thing. Our body metrics are always changing because we are always changing and our environment is always changing. So it's critically important to check in with yourself every 6 to 12 months so that you can make the necessary changes to keep the needle moving forward. And the goal of reassessing like this is not necessarily to find more problems. Hopefully there are not more problems. The goal is to predict and prevent future problems from happening so you can continue to operate at your best and feel your best for a long time. This process worked very well for me personally, and it works well for the hundreds of high-performance men that I've worked with. Tom, he's the president of a large construction company, and he was able to drop 20 pounds, increase his testosterone, and increase his energy. Garrett is an entrepreneur. He cut his bad cholesterol down by 25%. He lost fat and he gained muscle. Sean is an ex-athlete. He dropped 30 pounds of fat and got his mental clarity back. Roberto is an entrepreneur. He healed his gut, increased his testosterone by 200 points, and fixed his thyroid while having more energy and focus for his business and his family. family. Dave, he's a high performer. He lost over 100 pounds and reversed pre-diabetes while getting rid of his back pain and his knee pain and increasing his mental sharpness. And those are just a few of the hundreds of transformations this process has produced. So if you've watched this and you've been intrigued by my journey in this new system for health, performance, body composition, and longevity, and you think that this might be something that would work for you, I'd love to invite you to complete step 1, which is the initial assessment. It's 100% free. You fill out the Precision Health Assessment. It will give me insight into what roadblocks could be holding you back. You upload any recent labs if you have them, and then show up to your 15-minute call to review all the findings and figure out what the roadblock is that's holding you back from looking and feeling the way that you want to look and feel. From there, if I think I can help you, we can discuss what the best next steps are for you. The link to book the 15-minute review call is in the description. Once you book, you'll get the assessment sent to you automatically. Again, this is for high-performing men who want to transform their bodies and take a root cause approach to optimizing their health so they can feel awesome and live longer. If you're okay being normal, settling for where you are, or you're looking for the next quick fix, this won't be for you. So please, if that's you, don't book a consult. For those of you who feel like this is for you, I'm looking forward to connecting. The link is in the description again. And if you don't see a time on there that works, you can just send me a message on Instagram at Andrew Martin Health, and we'll find a time that works together. If you don't book, all good. I hope this video was valuable for you anyway, and I'll see you in the next one.